perhaps one of the biggest, if not the Achilles heel of the Las Vegas Raiders throughout the last it's been a while, has been the defense. Now, I want to refute that also by saying that we also put out a video about the defense that played like a top unit in the last month of the NFL season. Now, I think it's also worth mentioning here that I get it. A lot of fans like to point out that Derek Carr just hasn't quite gotten it done. He's just not a franchise quarterback. Blah 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 blah. He's the problem. We have put out many videos saying he's not the problem, and I think the Raiders, the biggest thing they need to take away, especially going into this offseason, is it's time to build the defense. Yes, this last year's defense played very respectably, especially down the stretch. Last 4 games of the regular season, you were playing like a top defense in the NFL. You go to play the Bengals. You allow, 26 points? Listen, I don't really have a huge issue with how the defense played. I really don't. In fact, I put more of that game on Derek Carr late in the game, trying to fit a ball into a window with Darren Waller in the red zone. I don't know. I would have probably drawn up a different play, but at the end of the day, I think it wouldn't have hurt to have a better defense, to make one more stop, let up one more, cut down on one touchdown, one field goal, whatever. The fact of the matter is, if the Raiders, as a defense, allows 21 points or less a game, I think they win 95% of their games. I really do. Because their offense is just too talented. Yes, Derek Carr is not Patrick Mahomes. He's not Aaron Rodgers. But he is a very good NFL quarterback. And they owe it to this man because we have pointed out many times, they have never given him a top 15 defense. Look at our past videos. We have brought out and shown you year by year, he has never had a top 15 defense. And I will beat this horse until it's raw, until it's dead. We know. Because if you can surround Derek Carr with a better offensive line, get him one more weapon. You got Hunter Renfrow, you got Josh Jacobs, you got Darren Waller, you got a medium of the pack offensive line, Colton Miller, and then after that, it's a lot of question marks to me. Like, if I'm being honest, and I think at the end of the day, if you can get Derek Carr, that offensive line that he needs, and I think you need to get 2 or 3 starters this offseason. I know that's a lot to ask, but in the draft, in free agency, you need to get at least 2, probably 3 offensive line starters, depending on what happens with Richie Incognito. If he comes back, oh boy, that's going to be a sick left side of the offensive line. Richie Incognito and Colton Miller, oh boy. You running all night, all day. We'll change it today there behind those 2 boys with Josh Jacobs every day, every play. I don't care. Just keep running it down their throats because they're not going to get through that. So I think overall, back on track here. I think the Raiders really need to put a lot of stock into their defense. Again, I know they've got a couple needs on offense, definitely offensive line. Like I said, they need at least 3 starters and some depth on offensive line. But at that, like we said, though, they can also take a flyer on some or sign some players in free agency, like that guard video we made the other day. I think there's a lot of players there, like James Daniels, those guys they can take a flyer on. Kappa, excuse me, all those players, and I think Corbett, Austin Corbett was another player. But overall, I think the Raiders need to really focus on their defense. At defensive ends, you're set. You got Max Crosby, I guess, who's the only player that plays during the Pro Bowl. I don't know. You also got Unique Ngakoue on the other side there. He is a menace as well. More of a liability against the run than Max Crosby, who's consistently graded out as one of the best overall defensive ends in the NFL over the last few years. But when I say liability, he's not the worst. So you can keep him on for rushing downs, for every down. Really, you really can. Also put Malcolm Kuntz in, please. Just saying. As a defensive tackle room, I mean, Darius Philon is great. Jonathan Hankins is great. I don't know. I feel like they need to put a lot more stock into this defense. And I really feel like overall this team is on the cusp of being something special. If they can only get the rest of that defense set up, like again, on the defensive tackle room, we've talked about it. Jordan Davis. We'll make other videos about the defensive tackles they need to take a flyer on. Even in free agency, I don't care. Get the problem solved. Make that defensive line impenetrable. I'm talking like purple people eaters times 3, because you got edge set. Get some defensive tackles in there that will shut down the run. Then after that, you got linebackers. Denzel Perryman. I mean, let's face it, he completely rejuvenated his career with the Raiders this last year. He absolutely did. And I think the Raiders need to add some guys that can both pass cover and bring some heat off the edge. I think that's some things you got to look for there. I wouldn't mind Malcolm Kuntz playing some linebacker and coming off the edge. If he can prove to me he can play in the pass and also the run, that's also a big thing as well. So overall, I think they need to look at things at outside linebacker. As far as their secondary, I don't know. I love Trayvon Moehrig. I've loved him ever since the day he came into the league. And I think, the Raiders are one of those teams that they fell victim, they're like the Vikings. They fell victim to a lot of subpar to below subpar corner play, especially as the year went on. I think if they can just add a couple of really good corners, I think that could actually make a huge difference for this defensive unit as a whole. But, I feel like Jonathan Abram, I'm not ready to call him a bust yet. More of a C+ player. I don't know if he's the answer there yet, but I think Casey Hayward Jr., Trayvon Mullen, those boys, we need some competition. I don't care. Nate Hobbs, doesn't matter. We are bringing competition into this thing and seeing who wins the job. That's what it comes down to. Best player plays. Don't care. Get competition in. I think your first-round draft pick, if you address the offensive line and you would get your playmaker at wide receiver, boom. Corner, I don't care, because that was, to me, it was a big issue against the Chiefs, against the Chargers, against everywhere. I don't care. They need some help in the secondary, but overall, the message remains the same. The Las Vegas Raiders need to rebuild their defense. Not rebuild, scratch that. They need to build their defense. They got some good pieces. Now build on top of it. But let us know what you guys think. Make sure you guys like and subscribe down below. Leave a like and a comment. It helps people find the show. We greatly appreciate all the support that we've gotten and continue to get. You guys are all truthfully awesome. We love every single one of you. Also, remember to give us a like and sub on all of our social media platforms, which you can find all those down in the description below. And if you want us to cover anything else, send us an email at thesportsbp@yahoo.com or put in the comment section down below, and we would love to cover it. But let us know what you guys think about the Las Vegas Raiders needing to build their defense.